Hello, my dear. Welcome to the channel. 1st to 7th August is breastfeeding week, and I am so passionate about children, babies, children. So, it being breastfeeding week, I've decided I am going to talk about breastfeeding this week. So, I'm sure many of us have had people talking about breastfeeding, the importance of breastfeeding. Even when you're still pregnant, health workers are preparing you for breastfeeding. Like everything's all about the baby, the baby, the baby. But have you ever sat down and wondered why people are always talking about this breastfeeding thing? Hmm? In fact, if you've ever heard about breastfeeding, have they ever told you the actual reason why it is important to breastfeed a child? So, well, if you haven't heard about it, today we are talking about it. If you have, I am reminding you, or maybe there's something you haven't learned, and you could learn something new today. So we are talking about breastfeeding from 1st to 7th. I'm going to be making a series about breastfeeding. Hello there, welcome to the channel. My name is Dina and I am a registered nurse. Like I had mentioned, we are going to be talking about breastfeeding. So, first things first, what is breastfeeding? So, breastfeeding simply means you're feeding a baby breast milk directly from the mother's breast. You're getting a baby and putting them on the breast and they are suckling. So that is breastfeeding. Simple, secure, instant. So something else I wanted us to talk about is about breastfeeding is the types of breastfeeding. I know some of us have never heard about them, but there are three main types of breastfeeding. So there's exclusive breastfeeding, there's partial breastfeeding, and then there's predominant breastfeeding. What is in exclusive breastfeeding? In exclusive breastfeeding, we are feeding the baby breast milk only. We are not adding anything. It is only breast milk more than 8 times a day. And then we are doing this from 0 days to 6 months. That is what we call exclusive breastfeeding. So next is partial breastfeeding. Partial breastfeeding is when we are breastfeeding the baby, but we are also including infant milk. Sometimes infant formula, like baby formula, instant milk, those things. So you find that sometimes a mother doesn't have enough breast milk, so they are supplementing the breast milk with these store-bought milks, instant milk. They are formulas. They are specially made for babies. So that is what we call partial breastfeeding. You're still breastfeeding, but because there's not enough milk production, you're supplementing your own breast milk with the baby formulas. That is that is partial breastfeeding. Then next is predominant breastfeeding. Now, in predominant breastfeeding, the baby is still being breastfed, but on top of breastfeeding, you're adding things like water or small juices that are recommended for babies. Okay, having talked about the types of breastfeeding, I hope I have not been too fast, but that is it. So now I want to talk about the actual importance of breastfeeding a baby. Breastfeeding comes in the importance of breastfeeding comes in two categories. It benefits the baby and it also benefits the mother. And I've categorized the importances into small headings. I like headings. Don't get tired of me. So the first importance is nutrition and growth. Now, milk changes as the baby grows to give the exact fats, the exact vitamins, the exact proteins, the exact everything that a baby needs to grow. Now, how does it do it? For the first one, from 0 days to 5 days, from 0 days to 5 days, the body produces colostrum. Colostrum is this thick yellow milk that the body produces first in those first 5 days. So this is what the baby is feeding on from 0 to 5 days. Now, colostrum is high in proteins and antibodies. These antibodies are the ones protecting the baby. Hmm? Protein is going to help the baby to grow fast. The antibodies are going to protect the baby from whatever infections are going to attack them. That is why it is like the body is that good. It produces its own antibodies to protect the baby. So from day 6 to day 14, the body is producing what we call transitional milk. Transitional milk is a mixture. It has lactose, it has fat, it has less protein, but also it has calories. So now these calories, these nutrients are the ones that are going to help now boost the baby's what? Nutrients that I've just mentioned are the ones that are going to boost the baby's growth like rapidly. I don't know if you've ever noticed that from the second week there, from the after the first week, babies tend to grow very fast. Hmm? So it is because of this transitional milk that the breast is producing. Then the milk from day 15, after 2 weeks, the body starts producing mature milk. Mature milk is this steady fluid that keeps coming. The one after this mature milk keeps shifting its nutrients until when the baby is able to take solid foods. So it's usually from week 2 to 6 months. So the body, the breast milk adjusts itself to suit the growing needs of this baby. So that is how special breast milk is. So when I tell you it boosts nutrition and growth, that is how it does it. That is the whole process of how the milk boosts nutrition and growth. It is very special. I hope I've explained properly. There's not a lot of science. The body just does the work. So now the next reason why breast milk is really, really important is breast milk is easy to digest. You see, breast milk, for it doesn't cause gas, it doesn't cause indigestion, it doesn't cause it doesn't cause constipation. So it is easy on the baby's tummy, and that means you're not going to have issues, a lot of issues. I know babies cry and whatnot, but because of constipation, a baby ending up with interception, and then you're ending up in theater and whatnot. Those things are not common, especially when you've breastfed your child properly, like mostly exclusively. Those problems usually don't happen. So you see why important it is to breastfeed, like direct breastfeeding. So yeah. Importance or on the other importance of breastfeeding, breast milk helps boost the baby's brain. Fats in breast milk help to build a healthy brain and a strong nervous system. So once a baby has that, well, you're good to go. Because the brain, we all know the brain regulates a lot of things in the body. So breastfeed your child so they can get these fats, and these fats are going to help us uh, help the brain develop properly. I know you've heard all these things, but the next reason why it is important to breastfeed a child is health and nutrition. Now, in health and nutrition, like I mentioned earlier, breast milk contains a lot of antibodies. We are supplying antibodies to the baby. So that means if your child is well breastfed, your child has less chances of falling sick all the time. Which sicknesses does breast milk protect the child from? Now, most infections like ear infection, diarrhea, you have common colds, many flu, many was, many cough. When you're breastfeeding your child properly, chances of them getting these things are usually very low. I've noticed that every time I get mothers who breastfeed their children properly, not are introducing feeds at 2 months or 1 month because baby has been crying. I've got them here at the clinic. That is why I'm giving you that example. You notice that children who are exclusively breastfed, they rarely get these infections. They start coming at around 1 year, 1 year when children have babies have the children have started mixing with them, like their exposure is now high, and already well they've already started mixed feeding and all the above. But as long as a mother is breastfeeding their baby, I rarely get those incidences here of cold, cough, what. No, I rarely get them. So it is also very, very important to breastfeed your child so that they get their nutrition boosted. Well breastfed child also gets an advantage that their risk of getting diabetes, type 1 diabetes, their risk of getting asthma, and their risk of getting obese, it lowers. a well breastfed child. So please breastfeed your children so that you lower their chances of getting all those things. It is something hard to believe and hard to explain, but just know we are reducing these chances. So once we have fed our baby, they have got all those advantages. The importance is now there. You've seen it. There's also an importance. It is important for us also. We benefit from breastfeeding. What? We benefit from breastfeeding our children. So number two, we are talking about the importance of breastfeeding to the mother. Now, a woman who breastfeeds their child um, gets health benefits. Don't laugh. The health benefits are like this. Number one, helps in uterus healing. The uterus is the womb. So when a baby comes out of the womb, you tend to bleed. And sometimes the bleeding is so much, and we need the uterus to contract. So when it contracts, it helps us to close the other open bleeders that are inside. So when you're breastfeeding stimulates these contractions in the uterus. Hey, I don't know if I'm explaining properly, but uh, breastfeeding stimulates the contractions. Once the contractions are stimulated, it's now the bleeding stops or it reduces. Like we achieve a reasonable an acceptable amount of bleeding. Yes, so when I tell you breastfeeding is important to the mother as well, please believe me. So you're not going to end up with instances of turning uterus. You're not going to end up with instances of PPH because your uterus wasn't contracting. Yes. Then next, when you're breastfeeding, there's an amount of calories that are burnt. So some people are lucky that when they're breastfeeding, they lose weight. Seen so many people who, for them, when they are breastfeeding, they lose weight, like legit losing weight. Not because they are not eating, not because what, even when they are doing everything right, they still lose weight. So, breastfeeding has an element of calorie burning, so it helps you lose weight. The next, breastfeeding also helps us reduce the risk of certain diseases like breast cancer, diseases like ovarian cancer, diseases like type 2 diabetes. When you're breastfeeding, you lower your risk of getting them. So okay. The other importance of breastfeeding to the mother is well, there's that bonding time. You're bonding with your baby. It brings you closer to your child. Then there's also an element of stress relief. When you're breastfeeding helps you release certain hormones that help you in reducing stress. So please breastfeed. When we are breastfeeding, for the first 6 months, in fact, no. Have you gone to a supermarket to buy formula? Yeah, you people. Formula. Imagine you're buying I'll Google search for the price of formula. I want to show you the evidence that formula is expensive. It costs an arm and a leg. So in the long run, when you look at it, breastfeeding helps you save money. At least from 0 to 6 months, you could be spending on other things, but if you add on buying formula, my dear, just know you're there. We might come for your arms. But all in all, overall, apart from costing an arm and a leg and whatnot, breastfeeding is very, very important. You get to bond with your child. You get to spend quality time with your child. Like, it's like a bonding time. I don't know how to explain, but it is a bonding time. You're not spending a lot of money. Baby is receiving from the source. You're not going to fast warm. You're not going to fast defrost. You're not going to fast do what? Those things. I am not saying doing pumping and whatever is wrong and it is not bad. No, I'm not ill talking it. I'm just saying breastfeeding. If you can, please breastfeed your child. Please do. It is really, really important that we breastfeed our children. So having mentioned all that, allow me to rest. We meet again tomorrow for another video about breastfeeding. Meanwhile, if you've reached this far, please subscribe. If this is the kind of content that you enjoy, more is coming. Ciao.